Hello, my awesome fourth grade artist. Today we're going to be starting a new project. We are going to be creating paper quilling trees. So paper quilling may be a new form of art that you've never heard of, but what it is it uses these strips of paper. So you see I have all these different colored strips of paper that I've cut, and they are rolled up, and then you create these unique shapes with them to make whatever design you want. We're going to be doing a tree, but I'm going to show you an artist who does lots of other designs. So the artist that we're looking at is named Yulia Brodskaya, and teachers, in your lesson plans, you can go to YouTube. You'll see the link. You go to YouTube and show the students the video Paper Quilling Masterpieces by Yulia Brodskaya, and you'll get familiar with her artwork. This is one of them, and I love this one. It's a peacock, and there's some butterflies and flowers, a beautiful design. It's paper quilling. So Yulia Brodskaya was born in 1983. She's still alive, and that makes her a contemporary artist. That means that she is still alive and creating work. But she was born in Moscow. Let's look at a map of the whole world. So you know that we live in the United States of America. This is our country. And Russia is over here. Russia is a very big country. You can see in comparison to the United States how much bigger it is. And she was born in the town of Moscow over here. But then in 2004, she moved to the UK, the United Kingdom. That's over here where Great Britain, where England is. Look how tiny a country that is. And she went to college there and learned more and more about becoming an illustrator. And we know that an illustrator designs pictures for books, but did you know that not all pictures for books have to be drawings or paintings? You can also have these paper quilling designs. And when she describes her art, she says that she is drawing with paper instead of on it. And that's kind of what you do with paper quilling. Instead of drawing on the paper, you're using the strips of paper to create your lines and shapes. And that's what we're going to be doing today. Okay, so to begin with, you're going to create your background, and I have these pieces of cardboard. We're going to be using the white side. They're cut really pretty, and we're going to be using the white side, and you're going to create a sky, your background. So on my first example, I made a blue sky, but not all skies are blue, are they? So I'm going to let you kind of decide, because we don't want them all to look the same. We want them to kind of be different. So you're going to need a sponge, and you're going to need some tempera paint. I think I'm going to make sort of a sunset on this one. And teachers, you'll need to have a center set up. You can have the other students watching a video or free drawing while you pull a few students. You probably can get this done fairly quickly and get this done in one class period. But I'm going to just squirt a little bit of each color directly onto this. Instead of having a palette over here, this will save a little bit of that. If I was doing blue, I would just squirt some blue in the center and use my sponge all around. But I'm going to create kind of an ombre effect, and that's where the colors kind of change as they go. This one's not open. Let me see. I have an open one over here. Also, you want to remember to shake up your tempera really good before you put some on. So now I'm putting some red. These are fluorescent temperas, and you've got all different kinds of temperas in your classroom, so you can kind of let the students choose what they want. And then I'm just going to start dabbing that on there with my sponge. And I've got a scrap piece of paper under it so it won't get all over the table. And I'm going to start pulling in some of this red now. And you see how the sponge I'm going to use my pencil to hold this down, hold it still so I don't get paint all over my hands. You see how that sponge kind of creates that effect where it helps you blend. I'm going to pull my yellow in now. And I thought I'd do a sunset kind of on this one. So you see how I'm just using that paint, that sponge to press that paint in. Oh, that's really pretty. Those colors look really pretty. So you could have done that even with some shades of blue, but let the students kind of guide you as to what to do with that. So I'm going to sit that over here to the side and let it dry. You'll need to go ahead and make sure your students have their name labels on the back, and then put it somewhere to dry to the side. Then the next time you come back to class, the students are going to be drawing their trees. So each student is going to get a piece of this already pre-cut black cardstock. Or this is just black construction paper. I'm not sure which I'll be sending. This is black construction paper. You'll need to have it with the longest side going up and down. That's very important. We don't want it with the long side going this way, or we'd have a short, stumpy tree. We want to turn it with the long side going up and down. Make sure your students are doing that. And we're going to draw our tree. I'm going to use a white or a light colored pencil, so it will show up on here. White or yellow, and even a light blue would work. So I'm going to start by making the trunk of my tree. And I'm going to find sort of the middle of the paper. This is about the middle. I'm going to come down just a little bit. And I'm going to make the trunk. And I'm going to do a straight line that kind of goes down. But as it gets towards the bottom, it kind of comes out. Because trees kind of do that, because that's where their roots start to go into the ground. So you see I've done that. Now we're going to make some branches. So I'm going to come off of this one with a line. And it doesn't have to be a straight line. And I'm going to make a point, and I'm almost going to make like a Y shape. Do you see how I made like a Y or a U there? And come down, and there's one of our branches. Okay, I'm going to come up again. Make it come to a point, and then I'm going to make another U or like a Y, like the top of a Y. Down, make another branch. Kind of try not to make them like perfectly straight, because branches on trees aren't perfectly straight, are they? Let's come up, making another Y shape, and then let's go over here and do one more. Kind of just go wherever the flow takes you on that. Okay, and there is a tree. Okay, now you're going to need to cut it out. So you're going to take your scissors, and you are going to cut it out. And I'm going to show you, we're going to flip the paper, so it's okay if if some of your colored pencil lines show. Remember, when we cut, we turn the paper instead of the scissors. I'm going to just cut that big end off, and I'm going to turn my paper. I'm turning my paper as I go. See? Turn my paper to make a point. It's very important to have good cutting skills. So these are ways that we can practice our cutting skills, and we want to take our time so that our tree looks very neat. On my paper. And you see, I'm still having some colored pencil lines show, but that's okay, because I'm going to show you what to do so you won't see those later. When I have a big piece, I just snip it right off of there and get that out of the way. Gotta watch out for that piece over there. Take that off. Now, when you start to add your leaves to your tree, the one that I'm going to show, I'm just going to be using oranges and yellows and some green. Because my tree, I'm gonna be like my trees in the fall or autumn, when the leaves start to change color. But you can use all different colors on your tree. You could even have a rainbow tree if you want. You could have all cool colors or all warm colors. It's up to you, because it's your tree, and I don't want them all to look the same. Yours shouldn't look like your neighbor's. Yours should be your own individual tree. Okay. All right, I've got my tree cut out now, and I have a piece. I know I made like a sunset one, but I have this piece that's dry blue, so I'm going to be using that just for my sample. But you see my pencil lines on this side. I'm going to turn this over Okay, that's what I will be gluing down. So let me put the glue on the line, on the side with the pencil lines. Teachers, you can use a glue stick or this Elmer's glue. If you find that the glue sticks aren't holding good, then just go back and use some Elmer's glue. Okay. And then I'm going to put that directly to the bottom of my thing, and then I'm just going to stick that down. Okay, there's my tree. Now we're going to start with making the pieces of paper. And we're going to, remember, we're going to be making shapes out of these strips of paper. And they're flat right now. If I just laid them there, they would be flat. But we're going to add form. And form is when you can see something all the way around. It has height, width, and depth. So we're going to be making these leaves that have form. So see, you can see the sides of them. They're not just flat. And we're going to be using lots of repetition in this. And that's a good thing to have in art sometimes. So you're going to take, I'm going to start with a green one. You're going to take a piece of your strip of your paper and a colored pencil. And you're just going to put it on the end, and you're just going to start, let me go this way with it. Sit it on top and roll it up. Try to keep it really tight. I'm going to roll it all the way on my pencil. I'm keeping the roll really tight. That's important. Okay, so I've got this roll. Now I took it off the pencil, and you see I have this little tight roll. I'm going to sit it down. I'm just going to sit it here to show you, but I'm going to let it loosen up a little bit. Then I am going to take just a little bit of a dot of glue to close up my end. I'm holding it there for just a minute. Let it kind of start to get sticky. Now, if I leave it like this, it's just going to be a round shape, and that's fine. You could have some of them, but it'd be really pretty if you have some leaf shapes. So to get a leaf shape, you just take your fingers and kind of squeeze it on the edges, and you see how that, it kind of looks like an eye, doesn't it now? See how I just squeezed that? And now I have this nice little leaf shape. You're going to get glue on your fingers, that's okay. Now to make it glue onto this, you should have some containers with some glue. Teachers put these in your little group areas. Dip it in there, dip the bottom in there so it gets glue on it. And then you're just going to glue it wherever you decide that you want to. Press it down for a minute, let it stick. Okay, let's do one more. This time I'll do a yellow one. So I'm going to roll my paper up. You're just gluing these as you go, because we don't want to have a bunch of these to try to keep up with. So just glue them as you go. Roll it up. I have this tight roll I've taken off. I'm going to hold it tight, take my glue, have some glue bottles on your tables. I just put a dot. Do like this. Oh, you know what? I forgot. I completely forgot to let it loosen up. I'm so sorry. Let it loosen up and then do your glide. Let's go back and do that again. So you see what happens if you mess up. It's okay. Sometimes we mess up, don't we? Okay, so here we go. Let's do this again. I'm so sorry. Roll it up. If you mess up one of the little paper quillings, you can just do another one. It's okay. If you forget and do what I did, sometimes when things have lots of steps, we forget. Okay, now I've got my strip. I'm going to sit it down and let it loosen up. Then I'm going to glue, put a dot of glue. Hold it there for a minute, for a few seconds, kind of let it get stuck. This time I'm going to leave the bottom round, and I just want the top to make a point. So you see I have a point on both sides of that one, but I'm just going to make a point at the top on that one. And then I'm going to take my little dish that has the glue in it. I'm going to dip it, the bottom part down in it, so I get glue on it. And then I'm going to glue it on there and just stick it on there. And that glue is going to dry clear. Okay? So you're going to go all around your tree doing that. And I want to show you what the finished piece will look like. So you see, I've really filled it in. I've used lots of repetition of colors. I've used repetition of shapes. I left some circle. I have some pointy, like more like a leaf. And we also have used contrast in that. Contrast is when things are very different, so they stand out. So you see we have the black of the tree is really contrast against the blue sky. So you're going to be using those things, and then like we said earlier, shape, form, and we're using color because you're going to decide what colors you want your leaves to be. And then the very last thing, I'm going to provide some of these little rhinestones and some of these little beads, and you can add those for little extra details at the very end. So once you've put all of your paper quilling pieces, teachers, let the students add some of these. And so to add something like this, if I wanted to add one here, I would just put a dot of glue and put that down on there and press it down. And that'll just give a little extra detail to your piece. So I cannot wait to see how these turn out. Try to do a really good job, and we'll put them on Art Sony, and yours may even get in the art show. So take your time and do a good job, and I'll see you next time. Bye.